Je me sens très chanceuse.
Action.
Vous avez misé sur moi?
Ouais, bien sûr.
Oh, you're going to be in a movie.
He's French. Oui, French.
Il en abandonne, pas son riposte.
Bon, dites-nous, qu'est-ce qui se passe?
On a gagné à la loterie. On a gagné à la loterie, quoi.
Hello and welcome to Arts 24. Time for our weekly French cinema roundup with our film critic Manon Kerjean. Hello, Manon.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us. Well, we're going to dive straight into the most glamorous French release of the moment, Couture, Angelina Jolie, Louis Garrel and Paris Fashion Week. What more could we want?
Yes, on paper, it really has everything you would expect from a glamorous film. Big movie stars, fashion week, and a Paris that looks intense and highly cinematic. But very quickly, Couture moves away from the surface and uses this glamorous setting to tell a much more intimate story shared between several women.
And one of those women is, of course, played by Angelina Jolie, who spoke French and took French lessons for the film.
Exactly. She plays Maxine, an American filmmaker who comes to Paris for work and suddenly discovers that she has breast cancer. At the same time, the film follows Ada, a young Sudanese model who's trying to survive in an industry that treats bodies as disposable, and Angèle, a French makeup artist who's deeply invested in her job but feels increasingly trapped in her personal life. And what connects them is not friendship in the traditional sense, but a form of solidarity that develops backstage, far from the glamour of the runway. Here is a glimpse.
Bonjour Maxine, vous êtes contente de réaliser le film qui ouvrira la Fashion Week?
Oui, je me sens très chanceuse.
Action.
Vous avez misé sur moi?
Ouais, bien sûr.
Oh, you're going to be in a movie. I don't know if this is really what I want to do.
Ne regarde pas. Suis ma main.
Vous avez pu lire ce que je vous ai envoyé?
Qu'est-ce que c'est l'histoire? C'est la vie d'une maquilleuse.
J'ai pas les bonnes nouvelles, Manon Kerjean. On a reçu les résultats de vos analyses et c'est pas ce qu'on attendait. Il va falloir que vous mettiez votre vie de côté un petit moment.
Je ne comprends pas.
What's going on, Maxine?
And for the director, this feels very personal.
It really is. Alice Winocour has explained that the film was born out of her own experience with cancer and also from a desire to film bodies under pressure, bodies that are scrutinized and pushed to their limits. She really immersed herself in Fashion Week to capture its intensity from the inside, filming close to the skin, often with a very physical camera and paying a lot of attention to sound, breath, and fatigue. And the project is also deeply personal for Angelina Jolie, who revealed in 2013 that she had undergone a preventive double mastectomy after losing her mother to ovarian cancer.
So very powerful themes there. Does the film work, though?
So I have mixed feelings. I find the idea of these intertwined female stories genuinely interesting, and I love how the film tries to show how women support each other. It's ambitious, and it's clearly driven by a feminist perspective on work, illness, and the female body. So I admire what it tries to do, but overall I found it slightly frustrating and uneven, because it moves quickly from one character to another without always giving them enough time and space to fully exist. So in the end, it's a film that wants to say a lot about women trying to reconcile their personal lives with their passion, but it never fully manages to tie all those threads together.
Okay, maybe it was trying to do too much in one film.
Maybe.
Next up then, Le Rêve, Américain, or The American Dream. This is a true story that's hard to believe. Two French men with no money, no connections, and barely any English somehow become major MBA agents. Anthony Marciano directs. Let's take a look.
J'ai un gars de 2,13 m là, c'est une machine de guerre. On est à poil, on n'a rien.
Ah ouais, je vous imaginais pas à ce niveau-là de galère, mais ok.
We just want to show you our player.
Where can I see him play? You have a video? Oh my God.
Il ne calcule pas, il ne rappellera pas, on s'est fait carotter.
On s'est saigné, on s'est endetté, on s'est mis dans la merde. Énerve-toi!
On va s'en sortir.
He's French.
Oui, French.
S'il en abandonne, pas son riposte.
Pas tricher, là.
Tu crois vraiment que j'allais laisser une pièce décider pour nous?
Yes, so it is an incredible true story of Bouna Ndiaye and Jérémy Medjana. One was working behind the counter of a video store in Amiens, and the other one was doing cleaning jobs at Orly Airport. So nothing suggested that they would one day negotiate contracts with the biggest names in basketball. And what the film captures is not just their professional success, but really the strength of their friendship, the idea that neither of them could have made it without the other.
Well, it certainly sounds like a great story. Tell us about the director and why he wanted to take it on. Then.
Well, Marciano has always been fascinated by success stories, but especially failure, which is the part that we rarely see. And there's also a personal connection because Marciano practiced basketball himself, but he quickly realized that his own NBA dreams wouldn't go very far.
This is also a bromance, though, a story about friendship, as you said, and the film brings together Raphaël, Quenard and Jean-Pascal Zadi. Once again, they've been in loads of films together.
Yes, very much so. Marciano didn't want to make a simple sports film or a classic rise and fall narrative. What he discovered through his research was a deep bond between these two men, and that's really what gives the story its emotional weight. And regarding the actors, this is their sixth collaboration together after hilarious comedies like Coupé, Fumer fait tousser, or more recently, I Love Peru. And there's a real chemistry between them, which works perfectly here.
Maybe they've got a real life bromance as well. So what stays with you after the film?
Well, the film manages to be moving, and it made me laugh many times because their duo is irresistible. They feel like a French version of Jordan Peele and Adam Driver. Comedy on the surface and depth underneath. And what I really loved is this French point of view on an American world.
Yeah, perfect. It does sound very interesting. Something completely different then now. Maigret and the Dead Lover. Pascal Bonitzer brings George Simeon's iconic detective back to the screen in this new adaptation, trading action for something more intimate and unsettling. And Manon, what's the investigation about this time?
So in France, Maigret is a cultural monument, a character as iconic as Sherlock Holmes in the UK. So here in the story, Maigret is called to investigate the murder of a former ambassador, and he soon discovers that the man had a hidden love affair with a princess whose husband has also just died. So he's going to uncover a series of secrets where love and power lead to deadly consequences. Here is a glimpse.
Le Quai d'Orsay vient de m'appeler.
Et c'est pourquoi?
Je ne sais pas, sauf que c'est urgent.
Commissaire Maigret,
je dois vous avertir que l'affaire est sensible. La victime n'est pas n'importe qui. Armand Berthier-Lagesse. C'était l'un de nos plus brillants ambassadeurs. Mademoiselle Larieux est à son service depuis 40 ans.
46.
vous n'avez pas appelé la police? Vous n'avez rien entendu?
J'enlève mon appareil pour dormir.
Il y a eu 5 coups de feu, ça fait quand même beaucoup de bruit.
Je vous demande pardon?
Je veux savoir ce qu'elle fait heure par heure.
Le Quai d'Orsay me harcèle.
Monsieur le procureur, j'ai mon rythme. Les lettres parleront peut-être.
It looks intriguing. Why did Bonitzer choose to shift the story to the early 2000s?
Well, Bonitzer said he wanted to confront Maigret, a character shaped by the 20th century, with the 21st century. And the film is set in the 7th arrondissement, in a very conservative, aristocratic milieu that seems almost frozen in time. And Maigret himself is a figure who is deeply resistant to modernity. With his pipe, his alcoholism, and his domestic life, he feels like a survivor in our world. The film seems deliberately old-fashioned, but it felt really dusty at times. Definitely not aimed at a younger audience.
Okay, and Denis Podalydès plays Maigret. What did you think of his performance?
Well, he's very much in his comfort zone, but he brings a quiet gravity to the role. With him, the interrogation scenes become almost hypnotic, and he turns them into something more abstract and poetic. But by the end, the crime almost feels secondary to what the film reveals about love, aging, and loneliness.
Okay, well, it definitely sounds intriguing. We're going to finish then with a sharp family comedy, different again. Chers Parents is the first feature film by Emmanuel Patron. It's adapted from a hugely successful play. Manon, what's the premise?
Yes, the play was a massive hit. More than 500,000 spectators in France and productions in several countries. The story is simple. An elderly couple calls their children for an urgent meeting. So the siblings rush over, worried that something is wrong. But instead of bad news, their parents announce that they've won the lottery. There's only one problem. They don't plan to give their children any of the money. And as you can expect, what follows is a pretty chaotic family gathering.
It sounds intriguing. I actually spend lots of time with my husband thinking about what we would do with money if we won the lottery. What did you think of it?
Well, André Dussolier and Miou-Miou are perfect as the parents, and the three children form a pretty believable and funny sibling dynamic. The rhythm is fast, the plot is predictable, except maybe from the end. The dialogue is extremely cliché, and the film constantly balances laughter with discomfort. So I must admit I wasn't convinced by it, but I'm probably not the target.
Well, you haven't made me want to go and watch it. We'll leave you then with a look at Chers Parents. Thank you, Manon, for guiding us through this week's French releases. It's been a pleasure to have you, and thank you for joining us. See you next time.
On arrête de s'inquiéter, ils vont peut-être très bien.
S'ils allaient très bien, je vous aurais dit, les enfants, on va très bien. Pas venez au plus vite, on a quelque chose de très important à vous annoncer.
Salut les enfants!
On est rentrés!
Bon, dites-nous, qu'est-ce qui se passe?
On a gagné à la loterie. On a gagné à la loterie, quoi!
On a gagné à la loterie.
Oui, pardon.
Juste, vous avez l'intention de nous en donner un peu, mais même un tout petit peu?
Non. Ah bon?
Bah non.
Ils ont le droit de faire ça, là?
Combien vous voulez?
De quelle somme avez-vous besoin pour être heureux?
C'est compliqué.